Let's get this. All right. Everything's working, everything's recording. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Free American Hour. I'm your host, Clay Douglas. And I want to thank everybody that made a donation to pay for the gas for me to get up to Phoenix. That was a 250-mile round trip, and it was well worth it because I got to welcome back to the land of the living, to freedom, Mark Taylor. And I've got his mother on the phone right now. Donna, how are you, dear?
I'm better. I'm so glad he's home.
I am sure. I saw that he got on the plane, and I got to meet both of your attorneys that are representing him, and
right.
I want people to know that these attorneys are basically really heroes. They stepped up to the plate when no other attorney would, and Mark Taylor is with his family today because of Wesley Hoyt, and all right, hang on just a moment. Hello, John.
Good morning, Clayton.
Good morning, sir. Can you hang on just a moment? Well, I'm glad you're with us because I've got Donna Taylor on the line, and yesterday I rode up to Phoenix and got to welcome Mark Taylor back to freedom, back freed from this whole medical establishment that has been holding him for the last year, and he's back with his mother, with Donna Taylor. And Donna, he remembered me. He said, I know you. And I said, yeah, Mark, we've met. And the fact that he could do that is encouraging to me because the drugs that they've been feeding him didn't have that much of an effect. He seemed well. He was up and walking around and talking, and we got to meet at the McDonald's. I didn't get the pictures that I wanted, but I expect that you'll take some pictures of him after he's been cleaned and freshened up, and you'll share that, and I'll put that up on the website. I'm also keeping up on the website. I'm keeping up the fact that Mark Taylor's free. I said, this is one story I've done that has a happy ending. I got to meet Mark and his attorneys at McDonald's in Phoenix after he was released from Magellan Group home in Phoenix and reunited with his brother. Mark is still a little woozy, was still under the influence of whatever medication they had been feeding him for the last year, but he remembered me and was on his way to the airport to rejoin his family. Donna has a long road to recovery and can use any and all donations. Sites were set up that told Mark's story that were supposedly taking donations that Donna never received. Wesley Hoyt is the only one authorized to receive donations and has put in a lot of time and travel without being paid by Donna. Wesley is negotiating with the medical company's attorneys regarding the dubious steps taken to hold Mark for over a year. Compensation for Mark and Donna is on the table. Donna has to find honest professionals to help to bring Mark back to full drug-free health. And I'm asking you folks, this is right up on my website, please help this family if you can with a big round of applause and a huge thank you to all who donated dollars to me. Without your help, I might not have been able to make that 250-mile round trip to be a part of the welcoming party for Mark Taylor. I'll continue to update you here as Mark progresses. And the donations there are Wells Fargo account number 5944951-648. Or you can mail a check to the Columbine family for Mark Taylor, care of Wesley Hoyt, 333 West Hampden Avenue, number 710, Englewood, Colorado, 80110. 2332. All of that is on freeamerican.com. Did I get that accurate, Donna?
Yes, correct.
All right.
Yeah.
And I hope we'll be looking for doctors. I've got people that'll be coming on that are talking about ways to restore, and get rid of and to cleanse Mark of all of the effects of these drugs. So we'll be working on that, and we'll I'll have people on my show in 2 days, or actually tomorrow. Tomorrow they'll be talking about that. Donna, I want to get to my guest, John Kaminski, now. But
Yes, thank
are you happy? And how's Mark responding to being home?
Very good. He's very happy. He needed to be home a long time, but he should never touch him.
That's right, and the lawyers, it's still on the table. It's still on the table. They're negotiating. They're talking with the attorneys. The attorneys know they do something wrong. They're facing possible disbarment. I think, my opinion, not your attorneys,
Okay.
my opinion. And I think the two attorneys you got, with the information we got, since it's still within the statute of limitations. Mine might be out of statute of limitations, but yours isn't. And we will go back in and make these people pay for what they've done to Mark.
Yes, they should. This is horrible what they've done.
All right, Donna, I'll have you back on as this story progresses. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
All right, a win for the good guys. Hello, John Kaminski. How are you?
That doesn't happen very often.
Not very often, and we're still working on Edgar Steele's case. You know, the whole Edgar Steele's case is a bigger farce than what happened to Mark Taylor. Mark Taylor just one of the many people that fallen into this medical web. I think these hospitals are traps. I think this whole medication system is as corrupt as our military. Let's make a bomb. Let's blow up a building over there. Let's kill a few thousand people, and then we'll go back in and pay ourselves to rebuild it. It's a scam, isn't it? Tell me about Libya. What's your thoughts on Libya? I just played. Now, John, this is a. You know, we talk a lot about the Jewish control and all that, and I just played a clip before the show of Louis Farrakhan talking about Libya, talking about why, you know, you're worried about the Libyan people. Why weren't you worried about the Palestinians when the IDF was bombing innocent women and children there? Why weren't you worried about that? And he points out that Gaddafi has built a underground river. He's developed the country. He set it up for farming, so trying to set it up so they can be self-sufficient. And from Farrakhan's point of view, he's not the bad guy that the press is making him out to be.
No, not even. I've said the same thing. He's done so much for his own people, and you need only to compare the fact that he's working for his own people rather than working for the behind-the-scenes people who put him in power. Like so many of like all of our leaders have been doing. Our leaders don't work for us. They work for the financial kingpins who give them their opportunity.
You're absolutely right there, and this is what's so hard to break. I mean, I just had Larry Pratt on from Gun Owners of America, and he pointed out something that Americans have totally forgotten. The politicians work for us. This is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, not a government of the banksters, by the banksters, and for the banksters. At least that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be. We are supposed to be telling, they're supposed to be representing us. But as James Forrestal said before they threw him out of that 14th floor of the Bethesda Naval Hospital, you know, if they were just stupid occasionally, they'd make mistakes in our favor.
That's right. That is right. No, it's a sad situation. It's really hard to find good news, so I was very happy to hear about Mark Taylor. I don't know the complete story about him. I don't know that we want to go over it because you've been over it a whole lot of times, but the whole Columbine situation is part of a much larger landscape of tinkering with people and making them do things they wouldn't ordinarily do. And, you know, you could say that about our military men. You keep hearing rumblings about dissatisfaction within the military, but the vast majority of them keep doing their mission, and what their mission is just so inhumane as to be unbelievable. why there hasn't been a general revolt. I guess in the military is the same reason why we haven't had a general revolt in the population, is that we're all sedated by, mostly by television, I think. But,
yeah, I call it the greatest mind control tool ever invented. They don't call it programming for nothing.
But it's really horrible to look at the television. I'm checking the Japanese situation, you know, at least 2 or 3 times a day, and every time I stop in at CNN now, there's their main story about Libya is about this Jewish woman who claims to have been mishandled or raped by Libyan troops, and that's what they've made the focus of their coverage. Very Jewish thing to do, and not a peep about the fact that Gaddafi has worked for his people. It's even more disturbing than that. There are websites that pretend to be on our side, but yet are advocating the invasion of Libya, and I think that's a very handy thing for them to do, because then we can identify them as CIA operations.
John, I'm sorry. I'm not sure, but I think you just kind of slandered Sarah Palin, you know, who wanted to go bomb Iran a few months back.
Well, I wasn't in my head in mind, but she's definitely welcome in that group, because she was definitely a member of it. It's like she's a cartoon character, and that's who we have as our presidents these days. We have these so-called distinctive personalities who in the case of Sarah Palin, I think she impresses a lot of people with her apparent gumption and her willingness to stick her neck out, but I don't know.
But to be in the Tea Parties now, I've been banned from Tea Party sites. They banned me from Tea Party sites because I was pointing things like this out. You know, you've got people that have infiltrated every organization out there, and if somebody stands up that they can't control what they think, and they hadn't been programmed or hypnotized, I mean, my God, you know, that's kind of what it is. Subliminal programming to get you to think a certain way. Gaddafi's bad. He's bad. He created an underground river that is growing so that Libya can be totally self-sufficient. They don't have to import food. They're piping the water in near the coastline and turning deserts into gardens.
Well, he certainly has. I mean, the comparison is striking when you think about really all the other countries in the world. I really can't think of a one who has, especially a dictator who's taken over a country and actually done things that are beneficial for his country, and he's definitely done that.
Well, I can give you an example.
The United States only supports those people who do its bidding. The United States has no interest in the integrity of other countries. And at this point, I don't even know if we can say the United States anymore, because, God, there's so many things that are absent from the scene now. You don't hear the word patriotism come up anymore, unless it's in terms of the way that concept is being misused by the powers that be, who only want patriotism for the point of view of to get people to fight for their twisted goals.
That's right. That's right. I just a little bit again before you. I played a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, and talking about the Vietnam War and how, you know, suddenly patriotism, you know, you just can't remain silent anymore. You know, not speaking out about these wars, not speaking out about what's going on is, you know, that's a lack of patriotism.
Well, people are going to be forced into it. People already are forced into it because of the deprivation that they're starting to experience. You know, everybody's value has already been cut. Everybody's financial value has already been cut in half.
I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you, but that the synchronicity is working here, and I've got a little note here from Ron Paul. He said, I hope you join me in my firm conviction that now is the time to fight back against the out-of-control Federal Reserve and continued Wall Street plundering of our tax dollars. The threat isn't hard to see. Just look around us. Our constitutional principles and values, our constitutional principles and freedoms are being assaulted at every turn. More bailouts, trillion-dollar stimulus plans, huge new debt burdens for our children, simply print money to cover our failed policy. I could go on and on. You and I know that President Obama is going to keep going and going unless someone puts a stop to this madness. But the good news is there's a way to fight back. The fight starts today by auditing the Fed and showing the American people how the Fed has abused its power, debauched the dollar, and helped strangle our economy.
Yep, that's all true. It's all true. But as much as I've said in the past that Ron Paul is probably the greatest candidate we've ever had for president, I don't think he's completely clean. And I am one of those who believes that the system can't really be reformed because it was invented with flaws built into it, notably the fact that Congress has abdicated its responsibility to coin the money and sold it to the bankers for, God, can you imagine the bribes that have been paid over time by the bankers to the politicians to get the votes that they wanted?
Oh, that whole Congress is bought. I mean, think about the $1 trillion, $2 trillion that Bush gave to the banksters when he walked out of the thing. That could have paid for every mortgage in the United States. And 1 million families lost their homes.
The whole financial situation can be fixed in a heartbeat, but they don't want to fix it in a heartbeat because they're making their money off us, by being parasites on us, and they're not going to give up that golden goose voluntarily. We have to take it away from them. Trouble is, as you know, as we all know, because we're all in the same boat, is that there's no mechanism to do that because they own the courts, they own the cops, they own the military. They may not own the military, but trying to rally the military to defend their constitutional oath, I don't think that's going to be a successful endeavor because the people who join the military kind of give up their free will, and no matter how they may be disturbed by the orders that they are giving them, they really don't have any choice but to follow them, or else their life is ruined. They're like Bradley Manning is still being essentially tortured for releasing those tapes to Wikipedia, and he's an American patriot, and he's being tortured by the American government for acting honorably.
I just played a song by Carl Klang talking about Gordon Call. Farrakhan mentioned what happened at Waco. We went in and bombed our own people. Same thing at the Move over in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's right. It's all true. And you're trying to tell people. I mean, we have it's like a regularly scheduled list that we talk about of government atrocities that have been committed against the American people. But Gordon Cowell takes that whole thing to another level, where the feds went in and actually cut him up because what?
What's it?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Oh, okay. I'm hearing some feedback. I didn't know what that was. The feds went in and talk about an atrocity, and it was all because he kept eluding them. He kept making fools of them for so long. But what they did to him, you tell that to the American people, and they can't believe that their own government did that. You're lying. You're making that up. No, you don't have to make this stuff up.
Unfortunately,
every day.
I've said I've said my fiction books are more believable than my nonfiction. It's
well, I've made the argument here recently that fiction is completely dead. because there's no way fiction can keep up with what's going on in the world. If you threw these plots that have unfolded before us in the past few years. Thank you. Sorry.
That's all right.
I forgot where I was now.
Okay, let's tell you what. Yeah, let's take a call here for just a second and see if we've got anybody that's got some questions. Hello, 760 area code. You're on with John Kaminski and Clay Douglas. Who are you, and were you calling in here, or were you just listening to the show? Hello? Okay, I guess you're just listening to the show. Thank you. Okay, we'll try this one. You got a block number, so who are you and what are you calling about? You're with John. You're talking to John Kaminski.
Hello.
Hello. You got a question or something here, or are you just listening to the show?
Oh well.
Okay, well, we'll try one more call here. Are you at 254 area code? Do you have a question or a comment for John Kaminski?
Clay, I'm just listening to the show.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, John. Sorry about that.
So people listen to the show by telephone. Is that the deal?
Yes. Yes, they can listen to the show. They call into the switchboard and they just listen to the show over their telephone.
Good deal.
And we do have the call in, that number 646-915-8774. John, it also seems to me, being the suspicious conspiracy theory type of person that I am, that they are maneuvering these incidents. I think the war in Iraq was not only to eliminate Saddam Hussein, who might have stopped trading the oil for dollars, but as a training ground for our troops for what they plan on doing here. I mean, in my film True Face of FEMA, we got first Homeland Security meeting. Briefing for law enforcement, and they're telling people, yeah, in case of a earthquake of significant magnitude on the New Madrid fault line, we'll need 400,000 well-armed, well-trained, organized, disciplined troops to control the American people. Is that what we sent our troops to Iraq for? To figure out, to get experience, going door to door, seizing the guns? Obama has supposedly signed a treaty with the UN guns in America. I don't know if that's true or not, but I wouldn't doubt it with Hillary Clinton on as secretary and going there and talking to him about this banning gun treaty. They want no guns all over the planet. They want everybody on with a chip in the international bankster system. And if you get rebellious, they'll just cut off your chip, and you won't be able to buy or sell. Go figure. Where have we heard that?
Well, before? I think we're close to that now. It hasn't been etched in stone yet, but it's pretty much the way it is. If they want to cut you out of everything, they can do that. Didn't they make a movie about that? I think they did. Where they took away all this guy's money and all his identity, and he didn't know what to do. And I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of us. I think a lot of us are already in that category where we're not really part of the system. And when we interface with the system, we pay that penalty because there's all of these restrictions that apply, and that kind of thing is what has made the American people keep quiet. But how much are they going to steal from us before we object to it? That's what I want to know.
And they've already got $12 trillion is what Ron Paul's saying that they've taken from us. And we've got more oil here than they got in Libya. We got more oil in North Dakota than they got in Libya.
Seems that way, yes.
So now wait a minute. There's one other person out there that's being portrayed as a nasty guy, and that's because the people in Venezuela are driving around on 25 cents a gallon of gasoline that Chavez has put back in. I mean, he's been elected by the people, he's loved by the people, and somehow Chavez is our enemy, along with Gaddafi, along with Saddam Hussein, along with Ahmadinejad. And by us going out and attacking these Jewish conceived wars, these protocols of elders of Zion wars, whoever's behind it, I don't care whether they're Jewish, Christian, or Muslims, if they're ripping us off, if they're stealing our money, if they've got it all, if they're behind this whole central bank scam, World Bank scam, International Monetary Fund scam, then they're criminals.
Yep, who own the courts. Criminals who own the courts.
Now, if we're going over and attacking Libya to support the rebels, the anti-government rebels over there, it's going to, and what we've done in Iraq and what we've done in Israel, are allowed the Zionists to do in Israel. That really makes Americans into ugly Americans. It makes them hated around the world. And hasn't that always kind of been the point of communism, to turn people against America?
Oh, you could go in a lot of directions off of that statement. There seems to be, I wrote a story and I did a video called the Destabilization Template, and if you look at things in that way, at least they seem to become a little clearer. Whatever they do, whatever they announce, it always has the result of reducing our lifestyle, limiting our freedoms, or somehow negatively affecting us. And I was just thinking a few minutes ago that when you hear pronouncements that American government officials make, and listen to them carefully, none of those pronouncements are for the benefit of the American people. They're for the benefit of the financial establishment that rules us. And it's very different from what a real, as Ron Paul has said, it's very different from a real American philosophy would like, because it's not really an American philosophy at all. America doesn't have an American philosophy anymore. It has a Jewish philosophy, and that Jewish philosophy is to be faithful to no one and steal as much as you can. That's the Jewish philosophy.
And well, you know, somebody on the chat room said, well, it's not the Jews. Well, the Jews only make up 2% of the population, but they control and they talk about in the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, the terrible power of the purse.
Yeah, it's all about finances with them. We have to see that, and it's like we're not seeing that for a number of reasons, but we have to see that, or they're going to kill us. They're well on their way to killing us. We have radiation in the air, folks, and if you breathe that stuff, you're guaranteed to get cancer. And we have our public officials, from the president on down, saying there's nothing to worry about. Well, do the math.
We've got to say now. I want to get to that. But stay with me for just a second.